All right, we are back for My Deck Tech. I am battling with Zvi Mauschowitz's black-white concoction. I don't know what else to call it.
No, you don't have to use quotation marks for the word concoction, because that's exactly what it is. It is not unclear whether or not it is a concoction.
It's definitely a concoction. So this deck features a lot of powerful combos, and I want to talk about some of them. The first is 4 copies of Mutavault alongside Precinct Captain, Bile Blight, Brimaz, and Herald of Torment.
Not to mention Obzidot Ghost Council, but you've been known to play 4 Mutavaults in Obzidot Ghost Council before, so
many times.
That's not a problem. We got that down pat.
A little further up the curve. See, now you can actually cast Obzidot with double Mutavault thanks to Herborg. It's a legal play now.
Yeah.
So so this deck is a little bit interesting.
Ambitious is a word.
Yeah, it really stretches the mana. We do have 12 dual lands and then 2 mana confluences to help a bit, but I still feel like it is a little bit of a greedy mana base. But the payoff is we get to play a lot of really awesome aggressive cards. I think the reasoning behind this deck is Pack Rat is extremely powerful, and they wanted a shell that really emphasized Pack Rat a lot. So we have basically a lot of early pressure to go with Pack Rat. And I've actually played a lot of the black aggro deck, mono black aggro, and I found that having like 1-drops actually made Pack Rat a lot better.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. You know, when you kind of bottleneck people on their mana early in the game by playing these cheap threats, they have to start burning their removal. They can't really afford to pick and choose and waste time. And so when you play like a Soldier of the Pantheon, and if they don't kill it, they're just going to start. They're probably going to take upwards of 6, maybe 8, even 8 damage from it. And once they use their early removal spell on Soldier of the Pantheon, sometimes that leaves Pack Rat to just go, unfettered through the rest of the game.
Yeah, and sometimes you get in situations where you're trying to race your opponent with a Pack Rat, and having like a bunch of early points of damage really adds up a lot.
Yeah, I do like the fact that along with the Pack Rat curve, I think that having a significant number of 1-drops in your deck is actually really good for the card. Because when you get to turn 4, sometimes just making a Pack Rat isn't good enough. But if you can make a rat and also do something else, like play Soldier of the Pantheon, or Thoughtseize away their big sweeper effect or something like that,
or
is really important.
Or protect your guy with Ephemeral Shield.
Yeah, or protect your guy with Ephemeral Shield. That's a pretty cool interaction.
Yeah. So a couple interesting cards in this deck. We have 1 Herald of Torment, and I'm actually a huge fan of Herald. I actually like this card probably more than most people. I've been trying to make it work for a while. And that was actually a card I was considering playing in the Pro Tour, but didn't pull the trigger. But it's just extremely powerful with cards especially with Brimaz, very good with Brimaz. It's actually pretty good with Obzidot too, surprisingly enough.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine an 8/8 flying Obzidot smash you in the face, and then after you blink it out, you still have a 3/3 flying blocker. It's not bad.
Yeah, it ends the game very quickly. And we also have a Johnny, which can also do the same thing with Obzidot, hit him for 10 in the air, along with the Drain. We'll end the game very quickly, and Ajani also plays really well with Precinct Captain and Soldier of the Pantheon, because those guys have a huge issue attacking through cards like Sylvan Caryatid. So having access to Ajani really helps there. And then one of the neat things is Ephemeral Shields with Brimaz. You can attack with Brimaz, make a cat, and then tap Brimaz and the cat to give your Brimaz indestructible.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool interaction. I'm not sure how often that'll come up. You're not really doing a whole lot of pre-combat stuff. I think the only one you really want to do pre-combat too often is a Johnny Caller of the Pride.
Right.
But at the same time, there could be a situation where you want to attack with Brimaz, kill their creature with Hero's Downfall after they block if they've double blocked or triple blocked, and then still also cast Ephemeral Shields to protect your Brimaz from either their removal spell or if they have enough blockers to actually kill it. So
yeah, there are some options there, and then lastly there's 4 Thoughtseize. It was written down as Duress on the Wizard site, but I'm assuming it's probably Thoughtseize because there are Duress in the board.
We're just gonna cross our fingers on that one.
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing about the mana base, and I know it's kind of rough, but I actually really like the interaction between Urborg and Mana Confluence. And this deck, I think, is one of the decks that could highlight that interaction, where being able to make your Mana Confluence not deal you damage is huge, but also Urborg just letting your Mutavault or Mana Confluence tap for extra points of black, I think, is really good. And playing even a second copy of this card, even though it's legendary, even in the deck I'm playing today, I'm playing 2 copies, and I don't even have that much black in my deck. But I do have 8 lands that tap for colorless mana, or 7 lands that tap for colorless mana. And I think that, playing the second swamp or playing the second Urborg over the second swamp, yes, you are going to draw 2 Urborgs once out of every X number of games. But I think that the odds of you increasing your odds to draw Urborg will make your deck run a little more smoothly from now.
Yeah,
from time to time.
Also makes basic planes a lot better, and you have pack rat to discard excess copies if you need
exactly.
to. So.
I mean, that's kind of like the brainstorm argument in Legacy. You don't want to have too many cards in your deck that are dead cards in some matchups.
Right.
But you do have brainstorm as a backup plan to get rid of it. So.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing if you do draw them.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the main deck for White-Black Concoction. Let's go ahead and look at the sideboard.
Is that what we're really calling it? White-Black Concoction?
I don't think so.
I hope not.
All right, we are back with the sideboard here, and the first card that just comes to mind is 4 Banisher Priest. And I have played a lot of White Devotion to have played my fair share of Banisher Priest. It's actually very good in a lot of matchups, especially mono blue.
I have played my fair share of Fiend Hunter, and I can say Fiend Hunter is a little bit better.
Yeah, it's definitely better.
3 toughness is sweet. But yeah, I do like Banisher Priest a lot in this deck, especially when you have these discard spells to, take away their removal spells and actually protect them later in the game, as well as Ephemeral Shields to give them indestructible, in response to Hero's Downfall or what have you.
Yeah.
I will say that today, Brian has 7 cards in his sideboard that I literally can't beat if he draws them, which is the Banisher Priest, the Devouring Light, and Deicide, which after game 3, after I get smashed by these cards, I might actually just board out in Soul Artifact and just try to beat you with Hall of Triumph. But it's going to be pretty rough.
Yeah, Devouring Light's another one that's really sweet with Brimaz, where you can attack and then Devouring Light after you get the token.
Yeah, Convoke cards are so insane with Brimaz and things like that. I'm very excited to try out some cool Convoke cards from M15 that I haven't tried yet. So.
Yeah, the rest of the cards I feel are fairly self-explanatory. Lifebane, white and green creatures, Duress, non-creature spells, Blood Baron, white and black cards.
Yeah. I do want to point out Lifebane Zombie is actually serviceable against blue eye control, and a lot of people don't board him in, but I think 3 power is actually pretty good for 3 mana in that matchup, and it just gives you more threat density, allows you to board more cards out, like your dead removal spells against them. So
it also dodges Last Breath and attacks through Elspeth, and you get to see their hand, which is pretty big.
Yep. Lots of value there. So,
but yeah, this deck looks kind of interesting. So I'm ready to give it a shot. See if Banisher Priest can get drawn at least sometime in the post-board games. He's probably very good.
Please don't make fun of me too bad today, guys. I just wanted to try something fun. I don't get to do that too often. So they always make me play the stock decks. I don't wanna. All right, we'll see you in a minute.